And I think, like, going back to how it, like, changes our lives, was that, like, the original?
Yeah.
Like,
how's it impacted you?
Yeah, so I think it, like, it changes the trajectory of, like, where you're gonna go in life, or, like, so, like, raised Catholic all of our lives. We all went to Catholic school, we all Catholic high school, and then you go to college, and you're like, okay, so now I'm, like, kind of, leaving my comfort, my little bubble of, like, always, like, regimented, like, Catholic school. Not that it's, like, super strict, but you kind of wonder, like, it's just ingrained in your life now, and you kind of wonder, like, how can you continue, like, to make an impact on the lives of other people? How can you continue your service? And this is our most influential way to keep that, service tradition alive in our lives, I think.
But I think, like, all of us are in a service-based industry. Like, I think we all take what we learn down here and apply it. Like, yeah, sure, we get paid for it, great, but, like, also, like, I'm serving the people that I work with. I want to make sure that I can do whatever I can for them. I mean, same thing with nursing, same thing with teaching. You want to do whatever you can. You go, and I think it kind of gives you...
You guys all impact lives every day.
You kind of get that extra edge, as opposed to, like, when we're taught in school, okay, you do this, you do that, you do that. That's all you're required to do as a medical professional. Like, but that personal relationship, going that extra mile for that person because you realize that they are indeed human and you want to help them, that makes, like, the biggest impact. And I feel like that's how we all take it home.
Yes.
Even if we don't realize it, we affect people all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you, like, whenever we come down and we have money in our donation fund and we want to always do, like, that extra project or that extra little thing so that we're not, I mean, we're down here and we're doing a lot of hard work on people's houses, and we love that, of course, and we want to complete the project, but we always like to do that extra little thing, and I'm sure that that's, like, seeped into our everyday lives. Because even at home, when I'm teaching kids and I'm working with kids and their families, I mean, it still makes you want to be like, yeah, I'm going to see you every day and teach you every day, but I want to do those extra things. I want to go to your sports game or reach out to your parent and see how their vacation was, or, like, something extra just so to make those, like, personal connections, that it's not just getting a job done, it's building a relationship and seeing them as a human and caring for them, as opposed to seeing it as a task.
Right.
And I think, like, money is valuable for sure, but, like, compassion is what we deal with. Like,
it's, being kind to them.
Yeah.
Treating them as a human being and not necessarily that they're, your client or
exactly,
customer or whatever, but just that they're
you would treat them as your family.
Yeah.
Has your faith grown in this whole process?
I mean, I would say yes. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I'm not like, oh yeah, like I go to church every Sunday, I'm the perfect Catholic. No, but, like, I think this helps you see the good in others and realize that, everyone is kind of created in God's image. They might have hit a couple of bumps in the road, but it doesn't mean that they're not, someone who's created, like, miraculously, like everyone else,
Yeah, for me, I think it's like eye-opening, and in this way, like, you're serving, not necessarily, like, going to church, but like, you're using these things that we learned down here to, grow in your faith and grow spiritually, but in serving others.
And I think
in
faith
your everyday life, and not just
it's so much more than just, like, going to church. Like, I think when you're in the real world, like, you see your faith in action. Like, it's not.
But it says that in the Bible, doesn't it? It says go out and clothe the naked and feed the hungry and do all that stuff. And that's what Back Bay Mission is.
Right.
So, after I'd started, the executive director at the time, Sherry Pressman, had said, I'd struggled to find a church, but at the same time, she said to me, Craig, guess what? You found your church right here. So it's one of the, right here, thank you. But it's impacted me. So I just didn't know how it impacted you guys. So good.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we all, like Megan said, we all had a very solid foundation in terms of faith, because we, that's been ingrained in us since we were in kindergarten. I mean, it's but it's easy to see how those things, like, really impact your life down here, as opposed to, like, when you're at home just kind of going through the daily routine. It's kind of hard to make that connection. But
right. And all of you have done like all the service stuff around here, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've done the Market Day Santa and
Yep.
the food pantry and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
you've got to see the big picture of what
Right.
Back Bay
Yeah.
Mission
Yeah.
is.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, a lot of I tried encourage all new volunteers, like the other group that's here this week. You know, you got to see the whole thing to kind of
Absolutely.
get that picture. You can't
Right.
just go to a job site and work
Right.
at a job
Right.
site. That's
Well,
just
because
not.
when you're working for one family, you're like, oh man, like we're helping this really, like this one family, it's so impactful, and like you only get that this one person is in need. You know
Yeah.
that there's 20 job sites going over when we had like 150 people. You know that there's a lot of people in need, obviously, but you are directly impacted by this one person.
Right.
Whereas like when you're in the Micah Center or like helping in the food pantry, like you realize like this is so much more widespread. We have so much more that we can do than this just one house. I mean, obviously that's huge, but
Right.
just actually interacting with the people who live in this community
Right.
is it's just it's huge.
And we didn't do it this year, but a couple years ago, or maybe 3. Again, I don't
Yeah, they all run
remember.
together.
We went to Homeport.
You're getting old.
Yeah. When we went to Homeport and we like basically flipped over one of the apartments for
Yeah.
another
For another veteran,
client
right?
to come
Yep,
in.
yep. Mhm.
I thought that was the coolest thing because it's like you're trying to get one more homeless veteran off the street. You're
Right.
trying to get him acclimated to, living with a roof over his head, having a meal, creating his own, resume to get a job, like that whole thing. It's like you can see the impact that it has on his life, like further and further on down the road. Like
Right.
that's a huge.
Right.
I was like when we did that, that was just another aspect of like the whole Back Bay mission that I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you can donate to. You can donate to a lot of places, but if you donate here, you can actually physically see
where it goes.
where it goes because you're part of that,
Because
right?
we're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Micah Center, like, it just makes you realize, like, what you take for granted. Like, I have a shower in my house. I go home and I take a shower, or I have the ability to use a computer and send a work email in 30 seconds. It's no big deal. Like, whereas they don't have that access, so it's, giving them those resources that they need to live, at least a quarter of the life that I am so fortunate to live, like, is just, it's mind-blowing to actually see that happening.
It's part of that reset button. It makes you come down and you're like,
Holy
I've
cow.
had this whole busy year of just thinking about work and getting work done and getting through the year, and then you don't think about how lucky you are
to have to do
have
the work.
the things that you have, to have a job, to have an apartment to pay bills on, even though when you're at home it sucks.
Yeah.
But you come down here and you're like, damn, like,
Right.
sorry.
Dang.
Beat that out.
They were worried about me.
Wow.
Like, you're lucky to have all those things, and it's
Right.
part of that reset button to be
Yeah.
like, maybe it's been a really busy or tough year with work and everything, but
The minor
how lucky we are to have those things.
It's
to
kind of
worry
the
about.
reminder every year, right?
Yeah.
It kind of sets
it
you-
is. Yeah.
It kind of keeps you grounded, right?
It does.
Absolutely,
It's
yeah.
humbling.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
you're
a minor inconvenience in St. Louis is the greatest blessing down here.
yeah.
Like you said, paying bills, that's so annoying. Or, like having to clean the house, have a house to clean,
Yeah.
that's so annoying. Like, but here it's like, wow, I would kill to have a house to clean. I would kill to be able to pay my bills without assistance. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
You
it's
go
a
home and you're
different
little
scenario.
More, like, calm and level than just like I just
Some
feel
of
like
us.
you're just like,
Some
all
of
The
us.
right.
small
dude.
things don't bother you. Like the small things don't bother you anymore. It's
No,
like,
Yeah.
the small
Like,
things.
well, like this
That's
is
what they are. The
nice.
small
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Well, thank you, ladies. I really appreciate your time. I don't know if you have any other comments to make, but
Just thank
That
you
was
for having
awesome.
a place like this
Yeah.
for us to
Yeah.
come to.
And-
I mean, you guys
well, don't
gave us this
stop.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, don't stop. Some of us
Yeah,
might be
speak
getting
up,
married
yeah.
or might be having babies, but come on, don't stop. Okay?
I mean,
fine.
can you like come down here when you're 9 months pregnant? That's totally fine, right? Like,
Do what?
you can find a job for me, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'll be the
my
supervisor. Craig said that I'm
No.
in charge.
But-
Instead of Chance, it'll be Emily.
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Oh,
thank you so
wow.
much.
We
I
love
appreciate it. You guys have any other
Thank
comments
you.
you want to share?
No.
I hope we
being
covered
here.
everything, but
Yeah.
I love
So?
that you guys keep coming down because it really means a
We
lot
love
to
you.
We clearly
to
love
me
you,
and,
Craig.
and,
Yeah.
and
Love this
everybody
place.
else.
It
So.
was great to see you. So.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, guys. Thank you.